You know, as a driver of any vehicle, we're responsible for the vehicle and what's in it. So it's really important we do our checks. We have our monthly checks, our weekly checks, but the one check we often get a little bit overconfident with, and what I say forgetful by being overconfident, are the daily checks. And things can change in a day, so it's really important we do these. Now, it's more or less just a bit of a walk around the vehicle, because the vehicle kind of tells you what's wrong. So we like to use that word, tells. T, tyres, really important. E are the electrics. First L, liquids. Second L, load. And the S is the state, the general state of the vehicle. But it's even better for you now because you've actually got a specific app which gives you a nice checklist for your walk around. So let's start with the transit. We'll do our tells check, our daily check on that. Tell you what, let's get rid of this. They got rid of the transit. I wanted to start with that. Hang on, let's get the transit back. Oh no! They give us another Vivaro. This ain't working. I tell you what, let's just start with this, eh? So we'll start with T on our tells, which is for tyres. Now, what we mean by that is come round here. Oh, these are the Michelin cross climate tyres. They're cracking these because you can drive them in the summertime, but they've also got that winter accreditation, so you're safe when driving on snow and ice. What you've got to do is just make sure they're in good condition while you're driving. So that's why we do our checks. The daily one, just stick your gloves on because it's nice to have a physical check. So put the gloves on, and what you're looking at is the wall of the tyre. You're looking for any little bulges or little cuts in it. It makes such a difference because that could blow. It's not safe. Now, the tread, you look at the tread, but you're going to physically check that on a weekly basis. And remember, 2 millimeters is the minimum, then get them changed out. And also daily, you're looking to make sure there's enough wind in it. So the air in that, the PSI will be on the wheel arch, okay? So weekly, physically check the PSI. Daily, do a visual check. You can see if it's going down a little bit and then we can get the correct wind in it. It makes such a difference on the drive, it really does. I've just fathomed it out, I know what they're up to. That's the electric and this is the diesel, that's why they give me two. So I tell you what, we'll do the tells on this one, but we'll refer to that one at the same time in case you've got the electric van. Now, the wheels and tyres are going to be the same on both of them, so we've got that covered. So let's move on to the E, which is electrics. So what I do is I start, we turn the ignition on because you're looking at the warning lights because the vehicle tells you when there's something wrong. So check all the electric warning lights on there. And what you can do is you can actually pump the brake, you can put it in reverse. There's always something to see when you're pumping the brake to see if it's working on at the back. I put the hazard warning lights on because that tells me all the indicators and turn the lights on. And as you're going round, you're making sure all the lights and indicators is working. But also check the lenses to make sure they're not cracked as well. So that's E, electrics, as you're going round. The first L is for liquids. However, on the weekly check, it's not a bad idea to get someone behind so they can physically see the lights going on and off to make sure they're working. And exactly the same with that vehicle there, the electric one. So, on our L, our first L, liquids, what we're talking about here, very simply on the daily check, just have a little look underneath the vehicle to make sure there's been no leaks. Exactly the same on that one. Quick little squint on it, and even in the wet weather, you can actually see if something's been leaking. So just check underneath. And please don't forget this liquid here, fuel. Goes better with it, doesn't it? Do you know, a cracking little habit to get into, when you're getting down to sort of quarter tank at the end of the day on your journey home, just go fill it up and then you've always got enough for the next day. But what about this liquid? You might not be aware of this. AdBlue. If you're not, just put it alongside your diesel, because if you haven't got any in, the vehicle will not drive. People aren't aware of that. And if you've got to fill it up, well, you've got exactly the same display. It'll tell you, the vehicle tells you when you're getting low. But there's a menu there as well. You can actually go into this menu, go through the proper sequence, and it'll actually show you how many miles you've got left to drive on the AdBlue. It even has a level the same as the fuel to show you if you're running low. Now when you come to fill up, you might have seen those bottles at the service stations and they've got a funnel attached to it, haven't they? You've got to use that funnel. You can't use your own at home, the DIY one. That one is designed specifically so it's got the airflow and stops you from overfilling the AdBlue. So always use the right funnel, and the vehicle will tell you when it needs it. Stick it in. AdBlue, fuel, cracking, ready to go. Now there is fuel in the electric vehicle, just it ain't liquid. It's electric. So the only difference there is just make sure you're charged for the next day. Come home, stick it on the charge, and again it'll tell you how much charge you've actually got. As far as driving that, don't get too worried about it at this stage, because there's a separate driver training video for the electric vehicle and that'll explain everything then. But the fuel, make sure it's charged up. So that second L is load. Do you know, anything that's in there is your responsibility to make sure it's secure. Now in here, this is fabulous because checking this, it's a brand new van, there's nothing in it, so happy days for me. But you know when you get those absolute horrible days and you just want to get home and you just chuck everything in there? Well, you can't. It's got to be secure. You're responsible. It'll move if you brake suddenly. Okay, so make sure it's secure. And there's that saying in it, a tidy van is a happy van. So make sure it's secure in there. And don't forget about the top as well, anything on the top. And when we say secure, we mean non-nickable as well. So let's lock the vehicle. We want to keep our kit in there, it's ours, isn't it? So if you're leaving the vehicle, make sure it's locked. There are additional locks on here. Look at this, dead simple, locked. And finally, clear cab policy. So all of the equipment and material goes in the back of the van. People go in the front, so that means don't put the material in the front and don't chuck the people in the back, all right? And it doesn't matter what vehicle we're driving, the load security is your responsibility, make sure it's strapped in. That leaves us with the final S, the state of the vehicle, the general state of the vehicle. The first thing I've got to say is it clean? Well, the number plates have got to be, that's a legal requirement. But you've got the reflective strips on here. It'll only work if they're clean. If that's full of mud and dust and things, it ain't going to work, is it? And it's just nice to drive a clean vehicle, isn't it? So let's keep the cab clean as well. Now, you know your fuel card, that gives you access to the wash facilities at the petrol stations. So there's no excuse really, is there? Let's keep it clean. It's got the name on the van, hasn't it? Let's keep a good, clean vehicle. Now, as far as damages, well, we report them, don't we? If there's any damages, but if there's something dangerous, we don't drive a dangerous vehicle. So get them reported and get it repaired if it needs it. So let's have a quick recap on our daily tells. So the first thing we're going to do, keys in the ignition, turn it on and just check to make sure none of the warning lights are telling us there's something wrong. We're coming out, we're going round, we're checking the tyres. Then we're going round and we're looking at the electrics as we're going around the vehicle. Make sure all the lights are on and there's none of the lenses cracked. We're underneath the front of the vehicle, make sure there's been no leakage with the liquids. We're in the back checking the loads, and as we're coming round it, once round the vehicle, it's the general state of it. It's a couple of minutes, but it's a very important couple of minutes every day. Please don't forget it. Now, comparison against the weekly check, a few additions, let's just confirm them with you as well, please. Additions on the tyres, checking the tread. Remember 2mm is the minimum amount, get them changed out, and a physical check on the PSI pressure, but it will be on there for it to tell you what it is. Underneath the bonnet. Hang on, let's open it. Oh, it's always yon side, isn't it? It is that side, mine, passenger side on these Vivaros. Oh, and please always remember the gloves when you're doing these checks, even with the tyres. And the catch, it's quite a ways over here from there, comes right across, it's there, it's sort of just past the P on the PH there. And we're checking the oil. Remember, take it out, wipe it clean, reinsert, check the level. The washers here really handy because that's the one you fill up more often than not. And as far as the header tank and the brake fluid, you just check them. If you think they're going down, get it reported as a defect because that means there's a leak. And please don't forget that other fuel, yeah? The diesel and the AdBlue. So physical check on these on a weekly basis. Let's have a look at this one. Again, across here, just under the R. Oh, someone's nicked it. There's nothing in here, man. Look at this, come here. Well, we still have fluids. You've got the windscreen wash here, you've got the header tank and the brake fluid, but that's just checking the levels. We don't fill them up. But please don't be looking for a dipstick in here. You could be here sometime. Just to finish off with, I mean, you know, when you get the vehicle for the first time, we're obviously going to get in here and just take full advantage of all the adjustments that are available to you, so you're always driving from the optimum position. The steering wheel, the seat, you've got all the adjustments, and the lumbar as well. Make sure the mirrors are in the right position. It's only you driving it, isn't it? Talking about the mirrors, you've got the blind spot detector on there. So we've got gadgets. Yes! No need for the phone cradle now because you've got a USB point down here, but it's got all that Android system which sets it all up on the screen, including the sat nav. So, great system there. What other gadgets have we got? We've got cruise control. Excellent. What's automatic on it for us? Automatic lights, automatic windscreen wipers. But I'll tell you one thing might be new for you. Collision alert. There's a camera up here and it's constantly checking out what's going on. So if it thinks you've missed something and you might hit it, it's going to automatically brake for you. That's going to keep you focused in it because it'll shock the watch that's out to you if you don't. So be aware of collision alert. Keep focused. You know, cracking vehicle. Please enjoy it. Obviously, we're always looking to get the best source for the fluids, so here's our current status. This is where we can get them from.